Okay, guys, so we're going to get started. I just turned the live on, so welcome to those who are joining on live. Thank you guys for coming. I was just telling Michelle and her husband that I honestly thought that we would be the ones that were scared of the whole coronavirus stuff, so I was a little nervous about still having it. And it was just crazy because it's like we're the ones that seem to be the least afraid. So
I know there are some people in my network that are like.
Well, there's always some, but yeah. I mean the ones that come here, our group members. I reached out to them and they're just like, "Oh no, we'll be there. I'll see you." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I sort of catered the topic today and the discussion to the ones that I thought would be scared. But as you guys know, and as I've mentioned in the past. A lot of what I speak about, how I host the groups, the topics that I choose, I really put a lot of prayer, thought, and meditation into them. So every month, I have a topic that just comes to my heart, and that's just the one I want to discuss. And the March one has been planned for the past 2 months or so, and it just so happened that it fell upon this particular, pandemic that we're talking about, creating a non-toxic home and using hand sanitizers and hand soap. So it just kind of confirms and reassures me that I'm along the right path and that, God is blessing the work that, we're doing today. So, again, I'm thankful for you guys to be here. So first thing, we have, you guys know where the restrooms are. I would like, I don't know if somebody, I need to kind of check and see if there's questions coming from there. But, so what we have right now is a diffuser going. In the diffuser, we have On Guard, which is my favorite immune supportive blend because it helps blocking bacteria and viruses that are, airborne. So that's going. I brought, of course, the Household, which is my new brand of non-toxic home-related products. So we have hand sanitizers. We have the hand soaps that you could use to try. I went to Juice It Up this morning, and they were nice enough to give us 10% off. So I brought you guys some wheatgrass and ginger shots. So I'll pass these around. Take one or two.
I don't know about that one.
Just do it.
I love the ginger shots. Shoot it.
Yeah, these are all really good.
It has tequila in it. Ginger and tequila and jam.
Only what you brought.
Only what I brought.
Only what you
I
brought.
should have brought.
I'll take this one because I have one.
Okay.
I'm doing my green.
Sorry. It's really good.
I'll try.
So we just passed out some wheatgrass. This one's stuck. Wheatgrass and ginger shots from Juice It Up Instagram. So thank you, Juice It Up, for that 10% off. Juice It Up in Rancho Cucamonga. Ashley there helped us out. So,
Oh, so no, I need to go.
there's obviously a lag. I didn't know that. Yeah. So first thing I want to start off with. So I've been knowing that, what's going on. I feel obligated to be informed and just educated on just, everything as much as I can. With that said, I have done so much research and so much reading and stuff like that. But I just want to remind you guys that I'm not an expert. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. What I am is a person who has overcome living with lupus and all the other things that come along with that. And I'm here to share my personal experiences and the things that I've learned to help you guys out. With the ginger shot, super strong.
You could probably mix it with another juice.
Yeah. And I don't have anything. I do have
You gotta have
water.
a shooter. You gotta have a shooter.
I only have water. So, yeah. You're like, tequila feels better than this, right?
That's for a certain
Need a line
clientele.
for that one too.
So just to reiterate, like I said, I'm not the end all be all. I don't have all the answers. I don't think anybody does. But I'm just sharing what I've learned and what I've researched to the best of my knowledge and capability. I want to start off with a sort of like a mantra or something that I feel like we should just continue to tell ourselves during a state of emergency like what we're in now, and that is today I will not stress over the things that I cannot control. So if you guys can, just remember to say that. Oh, here's the...
I was planning on opening it too, but then I said, I think it's going to spill. And when I saw her, I was like, I'll let her do it first.
Oh, you going to put me out there like that? Okay. So let me do it.
So, if you guys can, just remember that it's easy to stress over things and worry about things that are going on, but, if it's things that you're unable to control, there's really no reason to stress about it because there's nothing you can do about it. And what we're here for today is to worry about or stress about the things that we actually can control, and that's what, we're putting in our bodies and what, you need more napkins?
Yeah.
And,
that's how you do it.
Yeah.
And the things that we have control over are the things that we're going to discuss today. So today like I said, these are groups that I really think and pray about before I actually have them because I want it to be as beneficial. And here's a trash can right here to you as possible. So
Thank you.
today we wanted to discuss the wellness lifestyle, what it means to be well. How you feel physically, mentally, and emotionally can determine the state that your overall health and well-being is. Poor lifestyle habits and exposure to toxins put you more at risk for flare-ups and virtually every physical and mental illness. And the big question is, are you willing to give up the things that are making you sick? And if you are, then we'll be discussing how we can take a more active role in managing our lupus with some lifestyle changes. And the household brand is just a bunch of things that I've learned that have helped me throughout my sickness, throughout living with lupus and dealing with the medications and the side effects and just kind of being fed up with all of the problems that I was having from the medications and the lupus. And I wanted to reach out to learn about more natural things, like what natural things can heal my body that aren't going to cause more reactive symptoms from, prednisone, plaquenil, all those types of things. Is that annoying or is it just...
I just wish it actually gave heat.
We all said,
Are you guys cold?
It's a tea.
Oh, okay.
I'm not.
Okay, I'm kind of...
I'll probably be cold in about 10 minutes.
So the wellness lifestyle that we'll be kind of like going over today is just, like I said, things that I've discovered and learned that have helped me throughout my journey with lupus. So I want to start off with routine is medicine. So if you get in the habit of, creating a routine in life, it's helpful. So what I printed out to read to you guys is just like brushing our teeth every morning. Adhering to a routine allows us to foster habits that match our goals and aspirations. While our routine helps us develop good habits that are in line with exploiting our full potential, it also helps eradicate bad habits that do not serve us well. So, movement is also medicine. They say a body in motion stays in motion. So, trying to remain as active as you can. That doesn't mean going for a 4-mile hike or going jogging or anything. It means as active as you can. That might be getting up in the morning and laying on the floor and doing some stretching. It could be meditating. It could be going for a walk around the block, or whatever suits you. Might work for Terry, might not work for Tanisha, might work for Rosa Maria, might not work for Michelle. You have to figure that out, but just creating a routine of some type of movement is very important. Next, sleep is medicine. Can somebody share how sleep is medicine? I want to think about fire for something. That would be great.
No, well, just basically what I've learned, because I have what's called circadian sleep disorder, is that if your body isn't getting REM sleep, your body isn't healing itself on the basic cellular level. So habitually, when you sleep, whether it be a nap or whether it be the full 8 to 10 hours of sleep, if you wake up feeling exhausted or more tired than when you went to sleep, then you, and this is happening every single time you go to sleep, regardless of whether or not you've taken your meds, if you've taken melatonin, if you've done everything that your doctor's telling you, and you're still not getting that regenerative sleep, your body isn't healing itself on its cellular level. So at that point, if you've done this, and it's this long periodic time that you're having this, your body isn't healing itself. So more likely you're going to have the inflammation, you're going to have all of these other things happening that's going to trigger your body to have illness. And then it can cause depression, it can cause so many other things, and it's kind of like a cyclical cycle that if you don't get sleep, you keep getting tired, you're going to get depressed, you're going to get more pain, you're not going to sleep well. And it's a never-ending cycle until you break it. And you can tell your doctor that you're not getting sleep, and then if your doctor's answer is, well, try this new medicine, then you have to also break that cycle. And you can ask your doctor to do a sleep study. For me, it took a sleep study to find out that I wasn't getting REM sleep. My body wasn't getting to that point where I was getting that regenerative cycle of sleep so that I could dream or I could even start on the cellular level. And so, unfortunately for me, I do have to take a medication so that I can get to that REM and my body actually sleeps soundly enough that I could sleep. But some people may have sleep apnea. They may have, other kinds of sleep disorders like narcolepsy,
they need
and they need to have other kinds of assistance to help them sleep so that their bodies can heal.
Exactly. No, very good point. She touched on a lot of really important pieces to sleep, that period that you need that helps you heal, and then the fact that some things don't work for them, meditation or natural alternatives, and they have disorders where they need some sort of help to get them that full sleep, but you got to get that. It's so important, and that that should also be created in your routine, and why sleep is also considered a medicine. Breath or breathing is also medicine. A lot of times we go throughout the day and we don't realize how important taking a deep breath a couple of times throughout the day is. So if you guys don't mind, I would like for you guys to take a deep breath, count to 4, and then maybe hold it for 5 seconds and then blow it out. And then at the end of that, if you could say either out loud or to yourself, again, today I will not stress over things that I cannot control. So if you could take a deep breath in. You guys could do it too on Instagram Live. Take a deep breath in, count to 4, hold it 5 seconds, and then blow it out. You could do one more. And just say, today I will not stress over things I cannot control. And whether you believe it or not, breath is also medicine, and it does help boost your energy level, and it helps stop your thoughts. And for me, just doing that right now, it kind of calms you just a little. Makes you a little bit more mindful of how your body's feeling, and maybe to focus on that tension and kind of relax it. So, breath is medicine. Consistency is medicine, and I've printed out another. Consistency develops routines and builds momentum. It forms habits that become almost second nature. Kind of like routine, consistency is especially important, like in a business, because if people are expecting a certain level of service, then they know they can expect that every time that they come. So consistency is similar to routine, just kind of helps you get in the habit and your body in the habit of doing things regularly, routinely. Laughter is medicine. How many times you guys know, you go hang out with one of your really good friends and you guys are you have those belly laughs and you just feel so good after because you feel like you released something, right? I'm not a comedian, so I don't have any funny jokes, but I'm usually I say the corny jokes, like. But if does anybody have a joke that you'd like to share? Get us laughing this morning.
Oh.
Michelle is pretty funny.
Yeah. You know what kind of funny I am.
Yeah.
I don't know my audience, so
Yeah, she's
gotta be careful on ours.
Not this particular audience.
But you guys get my drift. Just being able to laugh and have a really good hearty laugh it feels good and makes you feel good. Storytelling is medicine. So with that said, I would like to. I'm sorry, and I did do a printout about laughter. Laughter does reduce pain. It increases job performance. It connects people emotionally and improves the flow of oxygen to the heart and brain. Laughter, it's said, is the best medicine, and all the health benefits of laughter may simply result from the social support that laughter stimulates. So, next on with storytelling, I'd like us to go around the room if you'd like to introduce yourself, and maybe just share nothing too long, just keep it short and sweet, but share a story about maybe some experience you've had this week or just something you want to share about today or something inspirational. But I ask that you just, state your name and keep it short and sweet, if you don't mind, please. I'm going to start with you, Tanisha.
You take that call?
Do you guys, is there anyone in here that doesn't mind being on the live? Because I would like to be able to show you. If you don't want to be on there, I'll show you. But the person that doesn't want to, I will not show you. So if you don't want to be on the live, just raise your hand for me. Okay. Okay, Tanisha, you go ahead.
I'm gonna wait till I'm on live. Thank you. Okay, so my name is Tanisha, and I was diagnosed in 2015 with systemic lupus. It took them quite a while to diagnose me. I started having seizures in 2012, and I continued to have seizures and other complications, health complications, until I was diagnosed in 2015 when I was almost on my deathbed, staying in the hospital for about 2 weeks, and they finally diagnosed me with systemic lupus, and with lupus hepatitis, lupus nephritis, so it's attacking my kidneys, my liver, everything was starting to shut down. But I'm still here. Yeah. So just, I'm a lupus warrior. I'm surviving. And it was funny, with all this going on, with the coronavirus and all of this, and I gotta run, go get me some food, go get me some tissue, because we gotta fight over some tissue, because we gotta get some tissue up in the house, because everybody's just like going crazy over this, right? And so it makes me crazy, so I gotta get back crazy, but we were all, in this line in Winco yesterday, and this long line is wrapping around the whole entire store, right? So it went pretty fast. So I was standing there, and my daughter was with me, and so she was my runner. So, I'm standing in line, go get this, okay, oh, shoot, she got that, go get that, I saw this over there, so she's running, going to get it. And then the lady behind me, she's like, oh my gosh, that was so great, you got a runner, but I don't have anyone. And she's like, but can you watch, because I forgot to get me some strawberries. I was like, girl, get some strawberries, I'll watch you. And so she ran, she got her, but she got more than strawberries. Yeah, I was like, girl, I said, that's all right, come on, go ahead, it's all right. And so we just started talking, and then next thing I was talking to her, I'm a talker. And I was like, yeah, I have lupus, and she was like, you have lupus? I was like, yeah. She's like, I have lupus too. She might be on here, so I said, hey, but she said, I have lupus too. I said, really? And she's like, yeah. I said, but I've never met anybody who had lupus. I said, what? I said, let me show you all these people. Let me show you all these people. Look at all these. I said, we have a support group, and I just started telling her everything. And I, you know, of course, I invited her here. But I invited her to, you know, text her. I was like, give me your number. And so we were just, you know, but it's really a shame that lupus is not
as known,
mm-hmm. And it's not out there like that.
Mm-hmm. And as many people have it, you would think it should be and it would be, but
right. Like she said, she knows people who have family members or they know somebody with lupus, or she's never met anyone with lupus. I said, well, hey, here we are. I said, you have a support. I said, you don't have to do this alone. And so she was really grateful. So I was excited about, you know, just meeting her and inviting her here and letting her know that she has the support here.
Nice. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for, you know, inviting her too, because I know, and you guys that have been here as often as you have know, I tell you guys my story all the time, and I was one of those people that when I was first diagnosed, I didn't know anybody. I knew, like, oh, somebody heard of somebody, or, you know, you may have heard it mentioned, but I really knew nobody. And that's, to me, that was the scariest part. And every time I even think about it, I could, you know, make me want to cry sometimes. But those first few years of being alone like that and dealing with an illness like lupus, it was so scary. And when you're dealing with, you know, medications like prednisone that make you feel the way they make you feel, and you don't know what to expect. And unfortunately, in my situation, my doctors didn't give me a heads up, like, you know, you may get paranoid, you may be this or that. And I just was thinking, like, the end of the world is coming, and everything was just overly, you know, overwhelming for me. So it can be scary when you don't have someone a friend, or just, you know, someone that you can just call that completely understands. And you guys know, when we come in here, we automatically get it. We get everything. So being able to come to connect with someone that just gets it like that is so important. So, you know, thank you for reaching out to her. I'm sure she's so appreciative.
I hope she joined. And today I texted her and said, hey, where am I?
Okay, Rosa Maria, you can go ahead.
I think that eventually we're all going to have some kind of, like, exchange about, I mean, the longer you have this disease, it's going to be that we're going to meet somebody who didn't know that they had somebody else out there that has it. Or you're going to have somebody who, you know, they knew somebody who was suspected of having it, or they talked about it and then they died of it. And so you have this experience where it's kind of like, it can frighten you, and it can shock you into that whole thinking of, what if that's me? And you can challenge that thinking. And for me, when I was diagnosed, my name is Rosa Maria, by the way. I was diagnosed in 2012, and I had been sick for a very long time. And I had been fighting with my doctors to get answers. And it was to the point where I was going to lose my job. And so when I was diagnosed, I was given a pamphlet. And I was told that this is my diagnosis. And I was terribly alone. And I found Kim and the House Foundation. And I think I contacted you because I was like, do you guys have any positions open? Because I was like, I needed something. I was like, I knew I needed to find something, and I was looking for help, and I was just so desperate, and I was depressed, and it took going out on depression leave to get help, because my medical doctors were saying, you're fine, you can go back to work, you're fine. And I was not fine. I was put on major depressive leave and outpatient depression. And I have since done 3 outpatient depression therapies, because I have major recurring depression on top of my lupus and a number of different diagnoses. And what I've experienced now recently that I have some more health setbacks, that I'm going to have to see more specialists. And it's terribly frustrating. And if we don't have outlets here and people that we can recognize and the friends that we can see in not just one support group, but many support groups. I have spent time with my illness, and it can be terribly isolating because our disease will tell you, not only the depression, because depression can be part of lupus. It will tell you that, this could be the end, and how am I going to deal with my family, and, am I ready to leave? And so you have to challenge those thoughts in so many different ways. And it's not just, finding those tools, but finding the people that can help give you more tools to challenge those thoughts. And that's mental health specialists and medical doctors. And a lot of people will say, I'm not depressed. I don't need to talk to somebody. I don't need a psychiatrist. I don't need a psychologist. I don't need a therapist. Or sometimes the doctors will tell you, and I've heard it a lot of times, they suggested I go on an antidepressant. But some antidepressants help with pain management. Because the brain is this amazing thing that it's like an outlet in the wall. Sometimes pain plugs and depression plugs are the same thing. And some medicines work for depression, but the side effect is that it helps with pain. Mm-hmm. And so they might prescribe an antidepressant to somebody who's been in pain for a very long time. And so people will say, but I'm not depressed. And I've heard it so many times, in a lot of my chat groups and everything. And it's because they've sent me to pain management. That I see these things, I've heard the lectures about how the brain can work. And in me going through depression therapy, they tell you about how your brain works. And this is why certain medicines work in certain ways. And people in other support groups, they haven't gone through those lessons. And so they're so resistant to trying these medications that could potentially help. Mm-hmm. And it's like if you've been in the darkness of pain for so long, and it's like, what do you have to lose sometimes?
Yeah.
It's like,
and it could be important for, especially when people are desperate to finally give in to try something like that and realize like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's like, yes, we do have this potential for these side effects. We do. But at the same time, it's like sometimes we are homebound and we are just living in misery at home. But if there's a potential of taking one medication that could give us a chance to live a life outside of that, to be able to experience that, that's outside of those doors, then sometimes
it's
that's worth
the risk of trying. Yeah, exactly.
It's worth trying that and giving it more than just a week, giving it more than just a month. Hope is just more than a 4-letter word.
Yeah. Well, I want to move along, so thank you. But that's such a great point because honestly, I didn't know that, Rosa Maria, and I've heard that lots of times. I've heard lots of people say, I went to my doctor and they just prescribed a depression medication and they're just like, completely turned off. So I'm glad that you shared that and that you've been through courses that show the scientific, connection behind it because, I don't think a lot of people know that. So thank you. Okay, you can go ahead.
I'm Nikki. I just recently got diagnosed with lupus, but like Rosemary, I have other diagnosis along with that, endometriosis. I just recently found out I have something that's extremely rare called pemphigus vulgaris, which causes like very similar side effects to lupus, like with mouth ulcers and ulcers in other places. There was any mucous membrane type skin, you can get ulcers. I found out because I was losing hair in one section of my head, so I have like this big bald spot. So I used to be pretty vain, like really into hair, this and that stuff. So it kind of was tough for me finding out like that it's the potential that that can happen periodically. Like I could just lose a whole lock of hair. Kind of tough. So I'm going through all kind of changes right now, right? I'm going through lots of changes with all of this. It's kind of new
How long ago were you diagnosed?
With the pemphigus vulgaris?
With lupus, because you said newly.
Lupus, I found out in January.
Of last year?
This year.
Oh.
This year in January.
Okay. Yeah, because that was the group that your parents first came to. Okay.
Right. I got into a car accident on September 11th already. And like after that, everything started going crazy. Like, yeah, it kind of was, the trauma start presenting all these different things. With the mouth ulcers were the first thing, because on the impact, it kind of cut the inside of my cheeks from like being hit in the car, and so from there, like my mouth just spread with ulcers, and then all these other things started happening. So I was going to the doctor, or basically to emergency, because I couldn't get into my own doctor. That's a whole other thing with doctors. Yeah. But and they're not really doing much in ER. They don't know much. So it was a struggle just trying to figure things out. But I kind of suspected before all of this that I might possibly have lupus, because I was dealing with endometriosis before that, and I was fatigued all the time. I did like a lot of changes in diet and a lot of natural things to try to combat the endometriosis, but I couldn't get rid of the fatigue. So I thought I might possibly have lupus, but I didn't really want to find that out. So I never got tested. But after all of this, I asked my doctor to test me, and the test came back positive, and then it was rheumatologist and all that other stuff. So yeah, it's been a journey. Little short journey thus far with the lupus stuff, but
and then just going through all the symptoms and not, like this can't be it. I'm having fatigue, so it can't just be this. It's got to be, just that.
Was kind of beating on my mental.
Yeah,
I'm an overthinker. So I like to just find the solutions. Like you were saying, like finding natural things. I'm a researcher, so I would look up all this stuff and try all these.
We become that.
We all.
Right.
We're all type A's.
Yes.
I just couldn't. The fatigue was getting me, so I'm still kind of dealing with it now. It's like worse now because of after the car accident and stuff. But I guess it's more settling to have answers though than to just not know.
Yes. So
now I'm just like trying to figure out where the road is from here to just get better. And the pemphigus vulgaris thing, that kind of threw me off because it's so rare. Like most people have never heard of it. I had never heard of it, and it's like stumping me because it's not like I could just go find out answers like I could with the endometriosis. That was at the time that was 10 years ago when I got diagnosed with that. So at the time it was pretty rare, but now there's more people talking about it, more people knowing that they have it. So there's like more information out there. Even with lupus, there's more information out there. But with the pemphigus vulgaris, it's like hard to even go on the internet and search anything because there's like no answers. It's extremely rare. So I'm just learning to relax and not have to have all the answers and just go through the journey and let it be what it's going to be. You don't have to have all the answers. Just, learning to calm down and be more meditative and learn some things in different different ways other than just researching, learning things through the experience.
Sometimes the experience is more valuable than the research, you know. And Mikey, I don't know if you remember her from the last group. I know you and your wife might, but she told me that she's on here and she told me to tell you hi. She asked me to give you a hug. I'm not giving hugs today, but she said to give you a hug. So exactly. Please, you can feel free to share if you'd like to.
No.
Okay. Moving along.
I'm here for my baby.
Thank you. It absolutely does. It absolutely does. Okay, Terry, it's so funny because your son just got on.
Oh, he did? Hi, honey.
He said, "That's my mom." Hi, Mom.
Well, my name is Terry, and I was diagnosed in 2016, in November 2016. Like everybody else, you know, you're sick for a long time. I had pancreatitis, and I think that was like my biggest major thing that I had. I was in the hospital, and I had blood work done, and I used to go to a county clinic kind of a thing, and so they never really did much, but they did do some blood work, and they told me, we're going to look for an autoimmune disease. At that time, I didn't even know what an autoimmune disease was. But a couple of things he threw out there, one was lupus, and I knew what lupus was because I had a friend who, very dear to me, who had helped me out a lot, who had passed from complications of lupus back in the 80s. So I knew what it was. I saw her deteriorate. I saw all her symptoms. So that was scary. I never followed up, and they never told me the results. And so years went by after that, and finally, again, I got sick again, and eventually I did find a doctor within that same facility that said, you know, this isn't normal, you got a blood clot, you got this isn't normal, there's something else wrong. And he was the one that saw the results, and he said, okay, I'm going to send you to a rheumatologist, and it was just downhill after that. I got my diagnosis, and, you know, it is very scary, and it's true. It's very scary, especially when you know what could happen, you know. But I think at that moment I decided that I owed it to my friend who didn't have the best medical care. I owed it to her to be a fighter, to be a person, to be active and to spread the word of lupus. And that was, to me, I felt was my obligation to her. So that's who I became, a person to, you know, bring it out there, tell people about it, you know, try to educate. You do go through the whole thing of researching absolutely everything until you get tired because it's exhausting. Yes, and it drains you. And you try everything. It's like a roller coaster ride. You try something, you go through your health kick, and then you go back down to all the junk food, and then but you know, it's your learning curves. You know, you're learning, and you do feel lonely. I remember, like you were stating about not knowing somebody and then knowing somebody. The same thing happened with me. I recently found out that, because, you know, when they're diagnosing you, they ask you, any other family member? Any other family member? Said, no, I'm the only one that I know of. Just recently, I found out that I have a cousin, a first cousin that was diagnosed. And, you know, when I first got diagnosed, I felt so lonely. And now I wish I were lonely. You know, the thought to know that somebody that I care, somebody that's my own kin, you know, to have it, I wish I were lonely. You know, I wouldn't wish this on anybody. So, you know, I reached out to her, and, you know, I try my best, and hopefully one day she'll either channel in through online or, you know, come to a meeting. But, you know, she's at that first beginning stage that we all are, you know, and she's a little jokester, like I'm always joking around. I mean, she's like, but I could, through text, I could hear it through her that, you know, she wasn't all there, like the person that I remember. And I was like, I gotta keep reaching out. So, you know, we don't like being alone, but sometimes we wish we were alone. So that's
Thank you for sharing.
But beyond that,
you have someone named Love Faith Live that says, hi, Comadre Chula.
Oh, she's my Comadre Chula. She's my another sister of lupus. Okay. Yeah, so when I got first diagnosed, she was the first one I called because I knew she knew what it felt like to be told that. So I reached out to her first, and she's like, but you know, I knew she knew. She didn't have to say much. Just be on the other line. I knew that she knew what I was going through. And
that means everything.
That does. You know what? It really, really does. And just knowing that you have family or a husband or just people that love you, that stand by you, and you know, don't even say anything, but just give you a hug and just are there. I think that's all that really matters to us at the end of the day. You know. So.
Yeah. Thank you, Terry.
You're welcome.
Andrea.
Hello, my name is Andrea. Let's see, I've had lupus now for 20 years. Wow. 20 years this year. So, you know, how it started with me is I had joint pain, and I went to my doctor. They ran a SED rate, and fortunately for me, my diagnosis was very quick. Within a couple of weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, I was diagnosed, and from that point on, I started having escalating symptoms. And then, you know, the doctor said, you know, do you have supportive family? Do you have a supportive family network? You know, and I'm wondering, okay, well, what's going on? You know, how serious is this? And he said, well, you have systemic lupus, and it can affect, you know, any and every organ in your body, and so forth and so on. And so, you know, back then there wasn't a lot of information about lupus, so I had to be on this journey of trying to, you know, figure it all out by myself, you know, and, you know, it worked out okay. I was on Plaquenil initially, and then I started, you know, researching holistic and natural ways to, you know, combat it. And so that's pretty much the journey I've been on. I pretty much focus on that right now. I'm not on any medication, and, you know, it's working for me. But what I want to say is that I know sometimes we all get down on ourselves, and, you know, we wonder, you know, why me? You know, why did this have to happen to me? And, you know, we are here for a reason. We do have a purpose. And so just this last month, my older sister, she's been diagnosed with cancer. And so I was talking to one of the nurses in the hospital, and, you know, she was telling me she's been taking care of her mother aside from working. You know, her mother was just diagnosed with kidney failure, and, you know, she's on dialysis, and just through conversation, you know, found out that her mother had lupus. And so I was able to, you know, tell her about our support group here. And I also too, like Tanisha, you know, I invited her here to our support group and gave her some information. And then I have a coworker who was just diagnosed with lupus. So then again, I was able to, you know, share my journey with her. And then my sister, April, you know, she has a pending diagnosis of lupus right now, of discoid. And so, you know, we are here for a reason. We're here to share and inspire, and, you know, so if any of you, you know, are out there and, you know, wondering why. You know, so
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you. You guys can share. I don't know if your husband would like to share, but.
My husband. This is his first meeting he came to. So.
Yeah, I do not have lupus. I'm here with my wife, Michelle.
Well, even though you don't have lupus in our support groups, and I know, you know, your dad knows, but what we share all the times with the people that come as our support, you are what's the word I'm looking for? You are what helps us get through. So, you know, just being here today, like, you know, you might just be thinking, like, I'm just coming to, you know, tag along or help her out or whatever, but it really means so much to us just that you come, that you're even interested in hearing about what's going on. Even if you're just sitting there and really not paying attention, the fact that you're here, honestly, well, I mean, and no, I mean, but to be here, but then to be doing something like that, it means so much to us here at the support group, because a lot of us come and we don't have that. A lot of people that are dealing with lupus, we don't have that type of support. But when, you know, we see the type of support like you and like your dad and like your husband and you know, some of our friends and stuff that come with us sometimes, it really means everything to us. So just, you know, thank you for being here. You can share if you want. You don't have to, but we do appreciate you.
So I'm Michelle.
Hi, Michelle.
Mine's similar to Andrea. Andrea, right?
Yes.
My diagnosis I was diagnosed in 2009, right after I had a year after I had my daughter. But mine was kind of fast. It took about a year. Started with joint stiffness everywhere. I woke up one day, couldn't get out of bed. I had to call him. He was at work. We were stationed in Kentucky at the time. So no family, no nothing. I just woke up and I was like, I can't move. And it freaked me out because our daughter was not even 1. It was just out of control. But long story short, went to the ER, started getting rashes on my legs. Nobody knew what the heck was going on. It was just back and forth, rheumatologist, do this, do that. Oh, you're fine, it went away. Okay, the rash is gone. Ended up getting pneumonia and all kinds of weird stuff. And it was just, everything rolled into 1 year. And it was just like, dang, what's going on? Finally, sent me to a doctor that actually gave a crap, actually looked into it. And he was like, no, this is what you have. And again, didn't know anybody that had it, never heard of it. Called my grandma. She starts freaking out right away. Oh my gosh, this is so bad, because she was a nurse. And it just was, it is what it is. Finally got it under control within that year, though. Felt fine. No problems for 10 years until last year. Got sick. Major sick. But I cry every time I do it. Heart failure, pulmonary hypertension, lung disease, all kinds of stuff.
Scary.
And I laugh about it, but then I cry about it. And it's just a lot of stuff. But I'm good now. I went back to work, which I probably shouldn't have done, because then I felt sick again and tired all the time. And it's a lot. But I keep going. I wake up and I'm like, I woke up, I'm good. No, it is what it is. There's no sense in being afraid of it. But I hold in a lot of my stuff, so when I come here, I cry.
Which is good.
That's okay. That's what we can.
Exactly.
Yeah, so and it's just, but I don't cry at home, because I got him and my daughter. My daughter's 11 and she freaks out. Oh no, I'm good. My daughter freaks out, Mom, are you okay? Are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. We're good. We wake up in the morning, we're good. We move on. It is what it is. So it's just, like someone was saying on here, it's not a well-known thing. We have each other. I didn't even know about a support group until Kim reached out to me. And she was the first one that reached out to me when I got sick. She was on Instagram. What did the doctors giving you? What did they say? Da, 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 da. I'm going to research this. And I was like, this chick is amazing. She's, I love her. She's a godsend.
She is.
Yeah, and it's just
when I was on vacation, she texts me, how are you doing?
Yeah.
Are you taking care of yourself?
Yeah. So it's the same. She's like, I haven't heard from you. Where have you been? Are you okay? This and that. And I tell my husband all the time, I got to text Kim back because I forgot. I try. I go, and I don't stop, because if I stop, I feel like I'm gonna stop for good. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I overdo it, but it is what it is, And like I said, I just get up and go. And like you guys were talking about, we don't know how many people around us have it, and all these people that do have it don't know about us. Yeah. And so it's important for us to remind, like you said, you do your research, and there's not a lot of research for some of the things you have. Well, it's important to post it up there. And it's not like whining or crying about it. It's like, this is what I found out. Because other people out there can be like, oh, okay, I've been looking for that too. Now I know another person that has it, even if it's just online. I never met Kim before. It was just all online. And then when I got sick, boom, I know this person now. So, and she can't leave me ever.
I will never.
Yeah, but, it's just an ongoing thing. We get up in the morning, we handle our business. If we feel sick, we just get through it. And then the next day could be totally different.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
As long as we, stick with each other, stick with our families, we're going to be fine.
Yeah.
That's all.
Thank you. There's a couple people on live that are I really relate. I feel her, the same story for me. So, and it goes to what you said, sharing and, having that outlet and actually sharing, it opens it up for other people to be able to share and feel that comfort and knowing, you know what I mean? Just that you can, I know I can reach out to this person. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then having the person be able to support you too, and So, what was I? Oh, okay. Something I wanted to touch on that she mentioned was, you talk about it and you still cry sometimes. I think that we as type A personalities, we're very good at pushing along. We're just like, that happened, we'll move on. We gotta, most of us are wives or mothers or what, we have jobs, and so we have a commitment that we have to fulfill, and we feel like we gotta keep going.
And so when you have these moments that you look back on these situations are trauma. They're actual trauma situations, and it brings you to feel that way. You cry sometimes. I mean, it's been almost 15 years since my diagnosis, and when I talk about it to this day, I still cry sometimes, just because being in that position, feeling like you're almost going to die, or feeling so alone or depressed, it is truly traumatic.
Well, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we have to acknowledge that even in those moments where we are told that we have, even organ failure, or we have, the diagnosis of this disease that is categorized as incurable, that is a shock. And we can experience what's called PTSD. And we can have those traumatic instances where it marks us. And if we refuse to acknowledge that and we suppress that, then it further traumatizes us. Yeah. So allowing ourselves to accept that we are sad and having that sadness and just letting those tears come. Tears have a purpose. Tears have a purpose. And even I've told this to a few people, I don't know if you've read it when I've said it online, is that scientists have looked at tears under microscopes. Tears of happiness, tears of sadness, tears of, different experiences. And under the microscope, the salt of the tears they're different. The way that the tears are I can't say the word right, but
the way they show in the microphone, they show. I've read that before too.
The breakdown of how the tears are composed are different for the experience of how that same person sheds those tears. And so the body needs to shed these for a specific reason. And if we stop ourselves from doing that, we're stopping our body from having that experience for a reason.
Exactly. No, thank you for sharing that, because it's important that you, and not just talk about it once, but regularly, discuss your feelings and these traumatic situations, because it helps you release those toxins that are in your body that may be even harming you physically. So, you need to come here more and cry more.
I need to stop working first. That's why I can't come to work.
Yeah.
So when you sent me the text, I was like, I'm gonna get tired.
Well, that's a whole nother topic. If you guys know me well enough, you know how I feel about working with lupus, but that's a whole nother topic. I won't go there today, but moving along.
They can't hear.
Oh. Can you guys hear me? I didn't change anything.
Yeah, one of the ladies says, "Oh, it's low now."
Maybe she could tell her turn up her volume.
A little bit. Can you tell? Yeah.
Or maybe I'm not talking loud enough. Or
I guess when you were moving around, it was.
Oh, I may have had it on my.
No, it was louder when you put it up there.
Ask her if she can hear me now, and then I'll.
Can you hear now?
I'll scoot over closer.
Can you hear me now?
So, moving along, because it's fair for me to touch on the coronavirus subject, simply because that's just like the whole world is going crazy about that right now. But one thing I wanted to share is that it's crazy how people seem to only care about their health when it comes to a situation like that. When when a situation like this comes, or even for us, like myself, even when I became sick with lupus, it took that for me to get to where I am today, to learn about so many things, health-wise, that I had not known before, that I probably wouldn't have paid attention to. So, my goal in Lupus House Foundation, of course, is for us to heal and get better and learn about natural things. But people like our support, I want them to understand that the things that we're sharing is beneficial for all of us in our lives, and that, don't wait until you're, sick with diabetes or a heart attack or whatever to realize, like, oh, shoot, I need to put this soda down, or these, constantly eating fried food or eating out, like, value your health now. Don't wait until a pandemic to say, you know, and I should be washing my hands every day. Like, duh.
That's like 101.
Yeah, you know. I mean,
maybe that's why we're not in
and that's what
crisis mode.
That's what I was thinking. And somebody made a post. As a matter of fact, I want to read it to you guys.
Family, dude, wash your hands.
I want
Your parents should have taught you when you was a kid.
Right?
Wash your hands.
I want to read this post. It was by Toy. I thought she was going to be here today. I don't know what happened. Let's see if I can find it.
It used to be like you come to dinner. Did you wash your hands before dinner? Like,
Yeah.
wash your hands before you come to the table.
Yeah.
Like, why are
So the post that she made that I want to share with you guys, this is by Toy. She's also an author, FYI. But she wrote, the post was, health really impacts everything, and now the rest of the world is realizing that too. And in her comment, she wrote, welcome to my world. It's like living in a box. You're limited in activities. You have to pay attention to who you're around. You're fearful about your life. You stay stocked up on supplies just in case. Like for me, I stock up on medication. You may have to miss work or school. You don't know how life might be the next day. Your life seems like it's in chaos. You try to get people to understand why you're doing the things you do. Everyone has an opinion about how you feel and they try to downplay it. People don't take the situation serious. You're confused and continuously waiting for answers. The truth is, I've been living this way pretty much my entire life because of lupus. Now you get a glimpse of my illness through the coronavirus, except you're fortunate enough to not actually have experience. You're fortunate enough to not have to actually experience the complication of an illness. It's not a joke, folks. Take life seriously always, not just when an epidemic occurs. So stay safe and stay blessed. So, and that goes to your point. I think a lot of people are now kind of seeing like, we always are already like this. We're already super cautious. We wash our hands. We be careful about all of these things. And so now that everybody's jumping on just that board, we're kind of like, you know, just like, okay.
To the point where I think my husband even like treats me like, what the hell's wrong with you? Like we get home from a trip and I'm like, luggage goes in the laundry room. Like everything goes there for wash before it even gets into the house. It's like
you never know what germs you're bringing, especially from a trip, you know.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, it seems like the coronavirus, most of the contraction of it was from a cruise ship, you know. You know, obviously we know where it began, but it just seems like a lot of the contraction came from traveling, you know. So I did just for you know, because even though we might be overwhelmed with hearing about it, there may be some people that want to learn about more information. So I'm not going to go over all of that because you guys see that probably on your social media all day, on the news all day. I'm not going to go over it again. There's really no point. But I will tell you that as of yesterday, and I don't go based off of Instagram and things like that, but from the WHO, which is the World Health Organization, and the CDC website, as of yesterday, in the United States, there have been 1264 cases that are, let's see, what is this described? So total confirmed cases is 1264. Total confirmed new cases, 277. Total deaths, 36. So to kind of keep things, and that's just to kind of keep things in perspective, you know, to see that like this is what we're actually freaking out about. And again, please, if you are freaking out about it, I'm not trying to downplay that, but I'm just saying like let's keep things in perspective and remember what we said at the first beginning of the group. We can only worry about the things that we can actually control. So I did print out, you know, like some things that you like the older people, the elderly, and people with respiratory issues are going to be more at risk, you know, of not being able to fight it. Yeah, so people like my daughter, she has asthma as well. I'm a little concerned about her. And then I printed out something that states the most dangerous epidemics in the U.S. You know, in history. So then you kind of get an idea, like smallpox, it actually took out 70% of the Native American population. That's a